one of the most important technological advances in modern history, and it's going to bring Tesla to the next level.
Gerber yesterday at the Investor Day had a private tour of the factory, and although he cannot post pictures of what he saw, he can tell us what he saw. So let's take a look.
You had tweeted that some of the stuff that you saw was insane in the factory. So what exactly got you most jazzed about its vision for reducing costs for the next-gen vehicle by 50%? Because that's a big number.
Right. I mean, it's all about battery cells. And when I originally went to Battery Day years ago and saw the prototype factory for cell production of the 4680, it was kind of like this new little whiz-bang thing. And when I went to the factory yesterday and saw what it's become, it's incredible because they've been able to shrink the footprint for manufacturing these cells to quite a small size. And it allows them to build these factories all over the world much more efficiently. And battery production is really the key to alternative energy's success for energy as well as for EV and transportation. So the 4680 cell is probably one of the most important technological advances in modern history. And when they achieve this, which hopefully will be very soon, it's going to bring Tesla to the next level.
The 4680 batteries are certainly going to be very important, but I'm not sure if I would go that far and say it's one of the most important technological advancements in the modern history. But I do fully agree. It is very important because it is simply going to provide us with much cheaper batteries. Look at the factory footprint that it will take now compared to Tesla's old 2170 cells, which are much smaller. This is a crucial part for Tesla to reduce pricing of the vehicles by reducing costs first. Tesla is also very strategic with the two factories here and the lithium refinery factory. That's the factory in Mexico, that's a factory in Austin, and that's the lithium refinery. You can go around this whole circle in 14 hours, 18 minutes. So to go from one factory to the lithium refinery factory is just a few hours, and to go from the Austin factory to the Mexico factory, that is about 6 hours.
He also spent a lot of time talking about moving away from a lot of the raw materials that battery technology is reliant on now. Talked about a lithium iron phosphate battery, so an iron cell-based battery, which is used in China right now. So it's out there right now in commercially produced EVs. He also talked about moving away from rare earths, and you see the consequence in shares of MP Materials this morning, which is down about 13% on this notion that you can actually engineer rare earths out of the process, Ross. And I'm wondering, how quickly you said it's going to happen sometime in the future, but as a bull and as somebody who is invested in the stock, how soon do you want to see this? What are your expectations on timeline?
Well, first of all, I think that when Elon is laying out a plan, he's talking about very long term, and his vision is very broad. So a lot of the things he said and the markets are reacting to today are very premature because we're very far away from doing all those things yet. And the chemistry of building a battery is quite difficult and complicated. And so all these are ideas that are incredibly efficient ways to improve battery production, but haven't actually been invented yet. So I think the market's maybe a little bit rushing to judgment, not to mention all the other EV players that need magnets. I own MP in my fund GK. MP is a great company, and they make these rare earths that are crucial to motor production. So we don't see anything on the short term to affect these companies. But longer term, I think for an electric future, we have to be very efficient with the use of the commodities involved.
Tesla not using rare earths anymore is a big deal. Here's one reason why. Pretty much every day now, it appears, we have some sort of new story about how tensions between the US and China are not getting any better, they are getting worse. And one of the purposes of a $7,500 EV tax credit in the US is to move away from China. China is listed as a foreign entity of concern by the US federal government. As of 2022, China produced more than 2/3 of the total global rare earth mine production. There is no close second. Everyone is so far behind. So it is important also to move away from these rare earths if that is possible, and if that doesn't meaningfully impact the performance of your vehicle. And yesterday, Tesla reiterated over and over and over again that when Tesla cuts costs, that is not to make the product worse and then save money. That is to at least keep a product as good, if not actually better. And Tesla is able to build a permanent magnet motor, but without rare earth elements. This is a huge deal.
Hey, Ross. I mean, even Goldman today says the ability to cut your cost in half is huge. But then they say, look, I mean, people were looking for a third-generation vehicle, or at least some specifics. This is a company with a magical ability to form narratives. They rolled out a prototype for the Cybertruck. Why not this time?
Well, I think, one of the things I was pushing on, and pushing towards the board was really more transparency about management and the teams that are running Tesla. And that was the purpose of yesterday, was really to introduce everybody to all the different teams that work at Tesla and the way Tesla's organized. And I thought they did a great job clarifying their organizational structure, which was one of the things I really wanted to see.
Remember when Ross decided to not run for the board seat anymore and then said it did work out, more to come? This is probably what he meant. He was promised that the whole team of Tesla, the executives, would be introduced and shown on stage, and that probably assured Ross, at least to some degree, that Tesla has a good leadership structure and Tesla is fine even if Elon is not spending as much time at Tesla.
Although, Elon is still sort of the king of the heap there, and there isn't really a number two. But what we saw was a really great group of engineers building incredible technologies that'll advance, Tesla into the future.
I personally really like that the whole leadership is really focused on engineering, and it really showed yesterday. Engineers are usually not very good at presenting, although there is one exception. For example, Rebecca, her presentation was actually really easy to listen to. She was very good at presenting. For Tesla to scale, it needs to keep making the products better. If the products don't get better, then Tesla will have a very difficult time scaling to levels that Tesla wants to scale. So I want Tesla to stay engineering focused for a long time. Eventually, once there isn't that much innovation possible, which is going to be a very, very long time, if ever, then I would want Tesla to add marketing and advertising and all of that. But until it is super clear that there is a very clear and simple path to innovate further, I want the company to stay like this, how it is right now, where you have a bunch of engineers who are sometimes a little bit not entertaining when it comes to presentations, but are really good at numbers and engineering and improving the product and paying attention to these little small details. They are super meticulous. And Tom actually was pretty good at presenting as well, although English is not his first language, it was still pretty good.
But when you're talking about vehicle launches, those are like parties, like when Cybertruck launched or Model 3. I've been to these launches and they're super fun and they're parties. This was for investors, and everybody there was institutional investors. There were no goofballs there. It was like a really serious room of investors. And so I think they want people to understand where Tesla is going long term. And I think they did a very good job articulating that. But I think people had they want a show, like that's what I do well, put it on the show and make it fun. And that's going to happen soon when they launch this vehicle. But I think they're still finalizing the design.
If you are an institutional investor, naturally, you want to know all of the little things about Tesla that we retail Tesla stock investors know, who follow Tesla basically every single day. To them, this presentation, I think, was actually pretty good because they analyzed dozens of stocks. You know what I'm going to do from now on when someone asks me, Matt, I like to invest in Tesla stock, but I don't really know much about Tesla yet. Where do I go? Investor Day, watch that presentation, all 4 hours of it. It was a great summary of everything that's out there about Tesla with a few new details and unique touches here and there, and you got to see the whole team as well. And I think even if many of these institutional investors are not going to buy Tesla stock now, once Tesla releases new, cheaper vehicles, I think they will be like, oh, yeah, they talked about that at the investor day, and all of that sort of made sense to me back then, but I didn't have a way to put that into my spreadsheet. But now that they released these vehicles, now I see that what we said before actually came true. That makes it easier for me to trust. And also, we already have some numbers here from these new vehicles that we're selling. Obviously, perhaps Tesla is actually keeping its promise, because I'm seeing that it is coming to fruition right now. Oh, we need to increase earnings per share estimates now. Let's buy more Tesla stock. And this is the Tesla stock buying opportunity explained by Elon Musk. My name is Matt Posius. Like and subscribe if you haven't yet, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you so much for watching.